Volume, Fiona.
Tusonga mbele mama Afrika, Afrika, Tusonga mbele mama Afrika, Afrika,
Around young people very often associate them with violence, treating them more as a threat than anything else. Insecuritized responses to young people, hard security approaches that make young people more frightened of their governments than anyone else, and this is completely counterproductive.
Peace education strives to create understanding and a common ground on strategies that benefit groups, individuals that are in conflict.
The children of today, they are the leaders of the 2063, but the young people of today, they are leaders of today.
Be mindful of what we do, especially for the digital hygiene part. It's really important.
Because most of the time when we look at the victims or people who are affected, we look at them as in form of numbers. We don't look at the potentials that they can bring into the conversation. And I think it is very important that not only the youth that have been victims, but every youth need to be meaningfully engaged, as well as also recognize what they can do and for them to be appreciated for what they have done.
Socio-economic integration in East Africa, it can only succeed if peace, stability, and security are established in the region. Article 124 of the treaty establishing the East African Community is very clear on issues of security, but also the strategies that we take to ensure our people move across the borders in East Africa with a lot of peace.
The need to change the narrative that young people are essentially perpetrators of violence and victims of violence.
Article 120 of the treaty calls on partner states to develop a common approach towards marginalized groups including children and young people, EAC integrations without getting the youth involved. Long live the East African community. Long live the young leaders. May God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay, welcome to Youth Unplugged. I think our host is having a bit of trouble with starting off. Kazeneza, are you there? Can we start off?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Fiona?
We can hear you.
Okay, very good. Let me try my video. 1 second. Yes. Thank you very much, everyone who has arrived. Good evening. I hope we are all already in a good evening or late afternoon. I am your host today. I'm Kazeneza Iget. I am a Burundian and I work at ULEAD. I just wanted to start with just going to see who is here with me. As we always start with just hearing from where people are and how they are. Let's see. Let's start with Ange. Hi, Ange. How are you? Hello, Ange. You can open your mic and say hi and tell us where you are. Oh, I see you are doing like this. Yes, I think Ange, she can't speak. Ange is my colleague. She's in Kigali. Let's see. Fabrice Nduwayo. Hi, Fabrice.
I'm doing well.
How are you?
I'm good.
Very nice. Where are you turning from?
I'm in Chicago.
You are in Chicago. Oh, that's nice. That means you are in the morning, afternoon, or what?
Early in the morning.
Early in the morning. So happy to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see. Anita Kairangwa. Hello, Anita.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Where are you turning from?
I'm in Kigali.
Oh, that's very nice. How is Kigali?
Kigali is good. A little bit cold, but it's fine.
Oh, that's the same. Even in Nairobi today, it's cold. It has rained the whole day. Maybe it's the season. Let's see. Yes. Let's see. There is somebody called Sarah Mutagoma. Hello, Sarah. I see Sarah. Hi, how are you? You can tell us. Oh, it's okay. Where are you? You were in Kigali too? Yes, good. Let's see if there is someone who might not be in Kigali. Let me try to guess. This is a hard name. Gale Moses Azaria Timayo. Hello, Moses.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am good. Okay, let me guess. I can't guess. I was going to say maybe South Sudan.
Exactly, that's perfect guess, you know.
Oh, I am good. Impressed.
You're great in guessing, yeah?
Yes, I am very good. I think I think some name just gave me some ideas. Okay, let's
Yeah,
see. How
sure.
is you are in Juba?
I'm not actually tuning in from Juba. I am in Bentiu. It's located towards the northern part in Unity State.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Happy to have you here. Okay, let's see. Daniel. Daniel.
Hey.
How are
Hi,
you?
Kazi. I'm fine.
Okay, tell me, let me behave like I don't know where you are.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead. So I'm in Kenya. This other side of Kajiado County is at the border of Tanzania. I'm actually at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, you know.
Wow, that's very nice. It
Yeah.
must be very cold now.
It's cold, yeah, it's cold, and beautiful view from here. So
I can imagine.
Beautiful, but it's cold, but you know, we are used to this weather already.
Yeah. So happy to have you.
I'm happy to have you too. Thank you.
Okay. So for the rest of other people, I know we are many. You can just really type, okay, I am here with my colleague Fiona. I see she has already wrote, she's tuning in from Kampala, Uganda. I think there was also another colleague. But with time, many people will be joining. Just write your name and tell us where you are tuning from and how you are. So today's session, I just want to, Anja, you can give me a thumbs up if our second speaker is here, or if he's coming, just send me a message. Okay, so as I was saying, today is a very special day. We have been having this whole month of April commemorating together with our brothers and sisters from Rwanda, the genocide of 1994 against the Tutsis. So today we wanted to host this Unplugged the series and have really a discussion about it and see what is really the contribution, especially what can young people do to fight against, in general, really genocide ideologies. I am supposed to be having two guest speakers from Rwanda, one who is already here, Debbie Karemera. You can say hi. Just hi.
Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Kazineza.
Thank you very much, Debbie. I am also supposed to have Ejid Gatari from Kigali. Ejid, if you are here, you can say hi. I think Ejid might be coming a bit late. I see Josue is already here. Hello, Josue.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you too?
I am good. Thank you for being here. Just give me a message when Ejid joins.
He's trying to connect. A few minutes. Yeah.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Yes. So we really wanted to start the session of today, taking really 1 minute to remember, especially really the people who lost their lives during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. So I will just ask everyone to mute their mics, take 1 minute to remember those who are Christians or believers, do a small prayers for our brothers and sisters. Thank you very much, everyone, again for being here. As I was saying, it's a special day. We are commemorating together our brothers and sisters from Rwanda, remembering the genocide against the Tutsis, which happened in 1994. And today we really want to open this whole discussion to what young people can do to fight, especially against the genocide ideologies. But as we will be doing that, as I said, you guys, you are much welcome to write in the chat. Just put your name and where you are tuning from and tell us how you are. And again, I wanted to say thank you very much. We received messages of solidarity, which we have been sharing on our East Africa Youth Peace Network, Twitter, messages of solidarities from the EYPN members to Rwandans. So again, thank you for being here. I want to start the discussion with Debbie. Debbie, are you able to open your video, or we just have your audio?
Yeah. I can try. I can do the video as well. I think the internet I have is okay. Let me try.
If it's going to cause a problem, just try. But if it causes a problem, we can just do audio.
Okay. 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 Let's start with audio. I'm seeing it's giving a bit of trouble, but I'll try to put it on as we move along.
Yes. So normally when we have an unplugged series, as much as today is a bit serious and what, we really like to start in a very relaxed day. So I always ask my speakers to present themselves, tell us who they are, but tell us also two things: a favorite song and a favorite food. So now, David, tell us.
Yes.
Who is David?
Okay. First and foremost, it's always a pleasure to be part of this Unplugged series. My name is Debbie Karemera. I work with Never Again Rwanda, and I have been working with Never Again Rwanda for over 8 years now. And I am currently a strategic and technical advisor with the Executive Director's Office, but I also have a background in peace building and counseling psychology. And I know Kazeneza had asked me to say something that my favorite song, something interesting about me that people would like to know. For starters, I consider myself an East African because I have ties to Kenya and also Rwanda. So I consider myself an East African. And in addition to that, I love, she had said to say one song that I like. So I like A Million Little Things, which is by Elevation Worship. And the reason why I like this song is because regardless of whatever it is that we might be going through, whether it's me, whether it's someone else, one can never fail to have something, no matter how small it is, to be thankful for. So I always like to say that there are people who are going through far worse situations. So regardless of what I'm going through, it's always important to be grateful. My favorite meal, I love chicken salad. One, because it keeps you feeling light, and at the same time you're able to do quite a bit of work when you haven't eaten a heavy meal. So I'll leave it at there for now. Thank you, Kazene.
I'm not going to comment on the chicken salad. I was so tempted. Thank you very much, Debbie, for sharing with us who you are, what you like. something about you now we know more than we knew before. I think Ejid has joined. Hello, Ejid. Hello. I had seen Ejid. He might still be struggling with internet, but okay, no problem. Let's continue with Debbie. So Debbie, you have already told us that you work for Never Again Rwanda, and I have worked a little bit with you, so I know a bit, and I know that you guys deal a lot with peace building and the reconciliation mechanism. So can you tell us a bit about what really inspired this name? I think the first time I heard about this organization, I was like, what courage to call an organization Never Again. So what inspired this name, and how have you been building programs around fighting violence in general and specifically genocide?
Thank you so much, Kazeneza. I think maybe just to give a bit of a context and a background. So the founders of Never Again Rwanda at the time, they were university students. And of course, they could see a lot of issues that were still prevailing in our society, given that it had only been a few years since the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi had occurred. And so they thought, okay, all around the world, people tend to say never again every time there's an atrocity, every time there's mass violence, war, or genocide. But then how do we put this aspect of never again into practice? So that's how they came up with the idea of saying, okay, we can begin an organization with a national chapter and call it Never Again Rwanda, because we acknowledge the fact that what happened in Rwanda had a severe impact, especially among the young people, given the fact that young people were manipulated into committing these crimes against humanity. And at that time, that these young people had lacked critical thinking skills to be able to make informed decisions and know that if they commit these crimes, what will be the outcome of it after. So that's how they did come up with this name, but at the same time ensure that it's contextual to the Rwandan society. Now, as we move along, of course, we realize that now we don't need to only focus on young people, because the genocide against the Tutsi had a severe impact, especially not only among the young people, but also those who survived, because it led to a lot of cases of trauma, which also needed to be addressed. So that's how over the years, if the people on the call get to find time and read more about the work that we're doing at Never Again Rwanda, you'll notice that we work with different categories of the Rwandan society, because the founders of Never Again Rwanda thought, in order to make this term a reality, or to make sure that what happened in Rwanda does not happen again, and also be able to support who are affected by the genocide against the Tutsi, while inspiring youth to become critical thinkers and be able to make informed decisions, we need to ensure that we work with the entire population. And so that's how we ended up expanding our programs to not only work with young people, but to work with the population at large. And when I say the population at large, we mean all the different categories of Rwandans that we have in our society. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Debbie, for that. I see Ejid has joined. Hello, Ejid, you can unmute.
Yeah, hello and good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm okay.
We are happy to have you. Is it? Very good. You read my mind. I was going to say, are you able to put the video?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yes, it's so nice. So I was saying that before we talk about serious matters, I always like to ask speakers to present themselves and in a formal way, but to tell us two things: one favorite song and one favorite food.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Song. I don't know if I know a lot of songs. I'm not a fan of songs. Maybe for the food, because I'm a Musinga, I like meat.
Oh, you like brochette?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, now just tell us who you are.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Ejide Gatari. I'm currently the president of GIRG. GIRG is a group of former students who survived the genocide committed against Tutsi. It is an NGO under the umbrella called IWUKA. IWUKA is an umbrella of all survivors organization. Now I work for the Rwanda Agriculture Board. I'm married. I am having two boys. I think that is enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I like you added I am married and I have two boys. Debbie didn't give us that information. Thank you very much, Ejid, for joining. Debbie, I see you have opened the mic.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Kazedeza. For me, let me just say I am along those lines of moving from young adulthood into becoming how do I say? I'm trying to look for the right word, but yes, I'm along those lines. I don't have any children yet, but hopefully in the future I will have some children.
I like people are laughing. I hear along the lines. Yes, so thank you very much. Just to come back to Ejid. Ejid, you told us, but I want really to get to know more about this organization. I was reading, it is in French actually. It's Groupe des Anciens étudiants et élèves rescapés du génocide. Just tell us more about it. What do you guys do? To really get to know more.
Yeah, thank you very much. The GIRG is, as you say, is an acronym from the French, but in English is the former students, survivors of the genocide. It's been founded, it's been inaugurated in 2003. It's been formed by, of course, the survivors of the genocide who graduated from different universities in Rwanda and out of Rwanda. But the idea comes from the IRG. IRG is also, it is a student organization, but also for the genocide survivors. The founder for IRG, you may see, is somehow similar. They graduated from different schools, but they see the role of IRG. Then they decided to continue with a new organization, but for the graduates. I may say it is an organization. The core mandate is to deal with the consequences of the genocide committed against Tutsi in different forms, but the special structure of our both organizations, maybe IRG for students or GIRG for the graduates. We have families, because we know the genocide committed against Tutsi destroyed our families, killed the father, mothers, and the siblings. Then we decided after the genocide, because IRG have been created in 1996, then we decided to create some, we call them artificial families, where we group our members in small groups. Then we form what we call family. Then the family where we have a father, a mother, and the brothers and sisters. The core mandate of IRG is to try to fulfill the gap caused by the genocide of losing all people from our families. So we deal with everything, social, moral, economics, and also, but we work as a family. But also we have other mandates, like we deal with the consequences of the genocide. Like we have memory and genocide prevention program. We have healing and resilience program as an organization. We have a socioeconomic program, but also we have memory and genocide prevention. But we do a kind of research and we do advocacy for all matters related to genocide consequences. So in a brief, that is the organization. Thank you very much.
No, thanks to you. I like the idea and the concept around giving family to trying to come up with we lost families, but we need to have to still feel like families and help each other and feel again like families, to know I have a brother, I have a sister, I have people I look up to. So thank you very much for sharing about your organization. I will go back to Debbie. Debbie, I'm sure at Never Again works with some genocide survivors. Would you tell us a bit about how you help them, especially in their process of healing?
Okay, thank you so much, Kazeneza, and I'm glad that Mr. Ejid brought about the aspect of, how they created families to be able to support, especially the young people, somehow come up with, to be able to feel supported through the process. So we at Never Again Rwanda, of course, a civil society organization, we supplement the efforts that are being done by the government. And so what we have been doing since 2015, we began establishing what we call safe spaces for peace, which groups that we created comprised of either genocide survivors, ex-perpetrators, new case returnees, all the different categories that we have in the Rwandan society, to be able to come to engage in dialogue so that they can be able to begin the healing process. Now, the way that these spaces were structured, because we acknowledge the fact that healing requires, it's a long-term process. You cannot immediately heal, despite it being today, we are 28 years, but there are people who are still undergoing trauma as a result of what they witnessed, of how they suffered, of the family members, their loved ones they lost during the genocide against the Tutsi. So through these spaces, what we do, we have psychotherapists who have years, of course, of experience, and they facilitate these groups, and they get to engage in dialogue about Rwanda's history, especially the events that led to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, because there were events that had been done prior. And then they also begin the process. So how do we now begin coping with everything that happened to us? How do we then move on, not forget what happened, but then how do we move beyond our trauma? How do we then are able to reconstruct our lives? How are we able to support our families, those who have families now, or how are we able to recreate new families? So these are some of the aspects that we get to engage in, including topics on forgiveness, because healing is a journey that requires a lot of different elements. It requires you to first heal as an individual before you feel the need to then forgive those who wronged you, or to then support those around you to be able to heal from their wounds. So we began this whole process, and then of course for some of the groups, depending on the intensity of wounds, especially the groups that were comprised of genocide survivors, it took quite a bit of time for them to feel strong enough, to now do the whole journey independently. And the one thing that I'd like to mention is that, for some of these groups, it was so hard for some of them to even be able to discuss about the wounds that they had experienced or the trauma they had experienced because of its intensity as part of a large group. So to supplement, to support those who are not able to do that as part of a group, we then began organizing like individual therapy sessions, which is something that we're doing till now, because there are some of the topics that are so sensitive that it was very difficult for people to even come up with these topics in a group. So this is how we doing this work. And of course, we are supplementing what the government has already been doing through the former National Unity and Reconciliation Commission, which is now part of one whole ministry. And so the work that we do it at the community level, but also with emphasis on not only groups but individuals, so that they can be able to then at the same time commemorate the loss of their loved ones, but at the same time also be able to not be not completely be immersed by the wounds of what happened to them 28 years ago.
No, thank you very much, Debbie, for sharing about that. I was just thinking the whole idea really of trauma, a simple trauma which is not genocide. Normally people have a lot to deal, even just to open up for a simple trauma we go through, maybe in a family, with friends, at work, but something deep like this I always say, for me, the month of April, when we talk about the whole genocide things, is also a time to celebrate the resilience, the strength of the people who all had to really fight against their nature to come up and survive, really, and actually not even just be a survivor, live again, have a life, have children, think like I'm a human person. I feel myself, whatever I have lost. So thank you very much, Debbie, to you and to all organizations. It's not just Never Again. There are so many organizations who have been helping and giving life to many people who really needed all that kind of support. I will go back to Egid. Egid, just really, I think Debbie talked to us like in a general way, as an organization. But if it's possible, and if you allow us to hear from you, how has been really your personal journey of healing? I don't want to go back on what you have seen and what you have gone through, but personal journey of healing. To the point now that's my big celebration of, I am a family man, I have 2 boys, now I have a family. So how has that been?
Yeah, thank you, Kazaneza, and thank also my sister from Never Again. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think maybe saying about my story can take a long time, but I will be very short. Yeah, we are discussing now the role of youth in fighting the genocide denial and the genocide ideology in Iraq. So the genocide committed against Tutsi in 1994 happened when I was 8 years old. Yeah, I survived from the southern province in Huye district. It used to be called Rusatira commune. I was in a large family for 5 children and the parents, mother and the father. Yeah, but in short, when the genocide happened, they killed all my parents. They killed also. I survived with one sister, my sister. We are now 2 in the family. So we have been killed. Our family have been killed just because there was Tutsi. So personally, I survived. It is a long journey. I have been also cut by machetes and a lot of wounds, physical, moral, and everything. So after the genocide, because the genocides have been committed by the former regime, led by the former president called Habyarimana, and the other militias called Interahamwe, But we had the chance, the genocide have been stopped by the RPF Inkotanyi, led by our current president, Paul Kagame. Then when the genocide have been stopped by RPF, and the RPF was the army wing of the RPF. So is when I find like, so the genocide started in, like, in our region, it was on 21st April. Even today, we are commemorating in a place called Songa. Izari Songa. It used to be a center of research in agriculture and livestock. So on 27th April is where they come, where have taken refugees. Then they kill all people. Me, I survived by chance. Then after the genocide, when the genocide have been stopped by RPF, it restored the peace and security in the country. They stopped the killers. They also they start healing survivors. So it's where I was somewhere taking refugees in a village called near Burundi, because I was trying to go to take refugees to Burundi, but it won't be possible. Have been stopped by there. Then they kill all people. So after that period is where is when we survived, in short. So after that period, the genocide have been stopped. I find the RPF. I remember the soldier comes where I was hiding. Then they take me. They asked me some questions. Then they linked me with the survivors from my family. Coming from the southern province, now I go to Kigali. I find like my uncle who survived also, and some member of the family. We started a new life. I started the P3. There's a call in Kigali. Then I started studying like normal people from primary school, secondary school. Then in the secondary school is where I joined the organization I was talking about, IRG. So the government tried to support the survivors, like paying school fees. Also the survivors and the entire community, they tried to help us, because I was living with my uncle. After I want to go to my aunt who comes from Congo. Then in the secondary school, because the government used to pay school fees and the material things. Then I find also the IRG, sister and brothers from IRG, we started to create those artificial families, those healing groups. I may say we have been healed by like 3 concepts. One is the new regime, the RPF regime, who stopped the genocide and also asked us to feel a kind of confidence. The other part is that those groups of survivors, we come together, we try to talk about our history, then we decide to live, to not die. Like then we commemorate, we do everything, but we say if you are at school, you have to study. So then also the families, like the aunties, the uncles, but also the entire community, because we have some other positive people in the community who understand our pain, and then they can support us. So I may say in brief, I finished my primary school, secondary school, I go to university. So after university, now I'm working for the government. I work in Rwanda Agriculture Board as the service programs manager, where I deal with the government support farmer to get seed and fertilizers and the government support. Then I'm the program manager of the program. So after the university, also I have a job, but then I also am married, as I say. I have two boys and my wife. We are living as normal people. of course, with a lot of gaps and the consequence of the genocide. So even now, currently, I'm the president of GRG, grouping many people who survived the genocide, who graduated from different schools. We are contributing to rebuild our country, Rwanda, and also to support anyone who wants to be a positive people. So I work also, I have a different attribution. In GRG, I work as a volunteer. Now also I'm vice chair of the district council where I'm coming from in Huye. So I think after the genocide, healing is a journey. We are trying to be resilient, but I may say to be resilient is it's a dynamic journey. So in brief, that is my life. Maybe if you have other questions, I will be able to respond. Thank you very much.
No, thanks to you. And again, really, as I said, we are commemorating those who departed, but also celebrating the survivors. I don't even want to call you guys survivors because you are living. You have been so resilient. I wish we don't have to be resilient, but you are strong and you are showing that beside all these things, there is power in life, and in the building who we are. Thank you again very much for sharing that. One thing I think I'm learning is the power of these groups, where people can have small families, small groups where they talk about what they have gone through and support each other. And tell yourself, if you are in school, you have to do better. You know, that's also a way of winning on whatever happened in your life. Is let me do better. Let me show all these people that we are good people and we are strong people. So thank you very much again, Ejid. I will yes. Just one question to Debbie, and then we can open to our participant. Debbie, you have told us about the healing, and even Ejid talked about the healing. Again, sorry, you guys might not see me. My electricity is gone, so I moved to the phone. Just to understand, especially you talked a little bit about the reconciliation. How do you support this kind of processes? Because one thing is about healing, but to have now a nation, to have a country and be able to move on as a country, there is really a need of reconciliation. I know the country has done a lot of processes, justice and reconciliation, and even giving space even to perpetrators to ask forgiveness to survivors. So all those kind of things. So how do you at Never Again really support this kind of processes? Thank you.
Thank you, Kazeneza. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, of course, we have different ways that we do this process. The first way we do this is, of course, through establishing these groups, which we tend to call them safe spaces for peace, where we facilitate a dialogue on what happened in the past so that we can be able to shape the future. Now, in addition to these safe spaces where we get to engage in dialogue with these different categories of the Rwandans we have in our society, we also offer capacity building sessions, if I may say. And these capacity building sessions are aimed at fostering critical thinking among the young people, but also educating them about our history. And this is not something that we do as Never Again Rwanda, because I know there are very many other different partners who do this, including Aegis Trust, who have a peace and education values component, which is part of their programming. So we believe that if we are able to then bring up a generation of young people who understand what happened and what are some of the events that led to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, then we would be able to collectively contribute towards having a reconciled society. But we also are aware of the fact that reconciliation goes hand in hand with the healing process. And that's why we put a lot of emphasis on supporting especially these different categories of individuals, whether it is the young people, because, you know, at the moment, we have a lot of cases of intergenerational trauma among young people, which, if not addressed, could really hinder the reconciliation process. So in addition to support genocide survivors, but we also place emphasis on young people so that we can be able to support them better and so that they can also contribute towards the reconciliation process, because this cannot be done as an individual, but it has to be done collectively as a society. The other thing that I believe also really contributes to reconciliation process that we are now slowly attempting to see how we can integrate this as part of our programming is addressing issues related to poverty. Because you could all the work related to dialogue, related to providing safe spaces where people get to, you know, talk about their wounds, talk about their trauma. But if someone is going back to a home where they barely have food to eat, maybe they don't have a roof under their head, or maybe even if they do have a home, maybe it's slowly crumbling down. So all of these things then takes them a step back. And so what we're doing is to ensure that our healing and reconciliation interventions are also supported or are also have an aspect of socioeconomic support, because then that also contributes to ensuring that people don't feel that, you know, if I'm making a step emotionally, then I should also have these basic things around me. And that's where I think Mr. Ejid mentioned this in his presentation about the work that they've been doing through providing, you know, paying school fees for genocide survivors or young children at that time who are orphaned at an early age, providing them with basic needs, because these are all things that a human being needs to be able to survive. So this is some of the work that we're doing. And then lastly, not to take too much time, we are also doing a lot of research, because we believe in order for us to be able to have programs that are informed by the current issues in the society, we need to do a lot of research so that we know our interventions being impactful. Are they addressing the needs of the community? Are they contributing to some of the programs that are already being done either by the government or different other partners? So this also has really enabled us to understand what are some of the gaps that are still in the society that we might need to either partner with other organizations or, you know, advocate for some of these issues in different platforms, so that at least we are able to have, you know, not only contribute to a shared and peaceful future, but also be able to sustain what has been achieved so far, and at the same time be able to use our experience to share what we're doing with other societies, so that also we ensure that we're not only limiting our impact to Rwanda and our young people in Rwanda, but also to ensure that the experience that Rwanda has been through as a post-genocide country or society, then we are able to also be able to share some of the lessons that we have learned throughout the process with other countries to ensure that, like we said earlier on, the word never again Rwanda is not only said in terms, but also put into action.
Exactly. Yeah, no, thanks again to you. Again, we never stop saying thank you to the work you guys are doing. And really the whole I was thinking when you were talking about one term you said about intergenerational trauma, how people don't take that seriously, that trauma can be transferred through generations, and how do we make sure that in our societies, in our families, we cut that that thing, and people can start living free and can start feeling I don't have to carry that trauma, and I have to start now working for peace, for reconciliation. Thank you very much, Debbie. I'll ask my last question to Ejid and open to the everyone. While Ejid is responding, you guys can think about it. You have seen the topic of today is about the role of young people in fighting against the genocide ideologies. Ejid, how do you think we can do that? I was just thinking that genocide doesn't happen in one day. It's a process. It's a long preparation to that day when things start falling apart. How do we make sure we really start preventing those things from the start?
Yeah, thank you very much, Iget. I think your question is very clear. Preventing the genocide, because the genocide happened, I mean, normally the genocide have like 10 stages, but let me summarize in 3 stages. There is preparation, execution, and denial. In our country, the genocide started like in the area, I may say it started with the colonialism, when the white people came in our countries to colonize our people, because they started dividing people in different groups and identifying them separately. Then we had the bad leadership, very from our people, Africans, namely in Rwanda, the former leaders. So I may say there is the external people, but also the bad leadership. They're the one who prepared the genocide, about the genocide, especially the genocide committed against Tutsi. Then there's a time of execution where they kill people, they destroy everything. So the last stage is in our country, what we are dealing with. The people who are having they are denying the genocide, the divisionism, again, they continue to, there is denial, but also the minimization of the what happened. Then also they are bringing the issue of double genocide, saying that the genocide have been committed by the Interahamwe and the Habyarimana regime, but also the RPF committed the genocide, which are not justified in the fake one. So simply saying how youth can be part of the people, can fight any kind of negative ideology. They may not say about the genocide, because the genocide is the highest crime. So that's the way old people, especially young people who are educated, we should have a kind of critical thinking.
Exactly.
And also using our critical thinking, we have to choose to be good people or bad people. Because in our history, not even in Rwanda or everywhere in the world, do you want to be a good people? Are you taking your role model as someone who killed a lot of people? Or do you have your role model as someone who saved the lives of people, who bring peace and others? Maybe let's take a simple example for the people who know around the world. Are you want to be Hitler, or you want to be Mandela, or you want to be... So let's take like those people. So if you decide to use your mind correctly, and also to think to decide to work for peace, it is not a simple journey, because destruction is a simple approach, but constructing is normally need the planning, the design, implementation, which want to be people. You have to be You have to have your, you have to be simple, you have to think widely, but also to decide to say, me, I'm going to be a good people. I'm going to avoid any kind of hate, any kind of bad attitudes, which can lead to kill people. So if you decide to be a good people, but also to fight for justice, because the genocide happened here in Rwanda, because you had a lot of injustice, where someone can kill, because someone have killed the Tutsi, he become a hero in the community. They give him some gifts. They if you don't fight for justice, I think it will lead to the genocide. So we have to fight for peace. We have to fight for justice, but also in a very simple and with humility. So just let's take people like in the case of Rwanda. Now we are having a strong person called the Paul Kagame, our president. But also in our history, we had the other people, like I'm talking about Habyarimana. Or so maybe you may think, if all of you, if you are youth or you are an adult, we may wish to have kids. We may have to have a peaceful country.
Exactly.
So you have to decide. Now we were talking about the transgenerational trauma. So saying about the transgenerational trauma, we don't. It is not about the people who are born from genocide survivors. Now we are having also the transgenerational trauma from the people who are coming from the family of perpetrators.
Exactly.
So if we want to build our community, if we want to deal with the serious issues, let's use our critical thinking and decide to be good people in a simple way. Then other will follow. Thank you very much.
Very good. I like the example you gave. You have to decide between to be a Mandela or between to be a Mandela or a Hitler. It's very simple as that. And I want to open to everyone. Deb, you might have something you want to add, and then we just use a few seconds, and then we open for other the participants to say something.
Okay. Thank you, Kazeneza. I mean, one last thing I'd like to say is that I always tend to tell people it's okay not to be okay. And the reason why I'm saying this is because despite the fact that we talk about, we encourage resilience, we encourage perseverance, we encourage coping mechanisms, but it's also okay not to be okay. So that's why I always encourage people to, every time you feel you're not okay, it could be something as simple as talking to someone you feel you can trust. It could be something as, ensuring and knowing that their mental health services are available for people who feel, sometimes it's very hard to cope on your own. And so just for people to know, it could be because trauma can take very many different kind of forms. And so it's very important for you to know when you need this support, and to know that there will always be people around who would be ready to listen and without judging, and ready to support you in any way possible. So yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to mention right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie, for that. It's okay to be not okay, and to know we are surrounded by people, and be able to open up. I just want really now to open to our participants. Guys, feel free. Whoever wants to start, just raise your hand, and really tell us, especially how do you see yourself? How do you see us as young people? What can we do to make sure that we are not just bystanders? We're just waiting things to happen. We can raise a voice. We can do something. I see Umar, you can start. Just let's use a few, just 1 minute or 1.5, so that many people can talk. Muhumuza Omar.
Thank
See
you,
your hand.
Kazeneza.
Mhm.
Yeah, I appreciate every speaker for the very good and kind words, and I also appreciate you for moderating this session. We are looking at the role of youths. For me, the role of youth starts with capacity building. As young people, in their capacities as ourselves, then to society, because society and its building blocks such as family, and then to institutions out there, governments, non-governmental organizations, schools, hospitals, name it, all these systems. And how we build and inculcate values of peace building. One is to accept challenges that we have faced and the challenges that have been brought to us by the history that we have faced. And that is an important step in peace building, that every individual must accept that they have faced particular challenges and devise feasible means. Secondly, is the question of coexistence. That yes, we agree that in Rwanda there is a tribe of Hutu and then there's a tribe of Tutsi. So how then best do these two tribes coexist and then harmoniously live without feeling victimized because of, say, for example, the history they have faced or the message that is being spread post-genocide? So for me, it is now at individual level. Then I appreciate what the different organizations are doing. In short, what they are doing to look out for small groups of people come together is largely what we call the biopsychosocial model, where people believe that yes, indeed, there are challenges, they have affected them mentally, socially, physically, and they can address all these aspects of their living to make sure they are better people in society. At society level, we then have to use our families to reunite ourselves and then agree that indeed there are challenges, but how do we move past these challenges as a new generation, as new families, as new Hutus? How do we then how do the new Hutus feel not victimized? How do the new Tutsis, the new generation, feel they can coexist with the other tribe that perpetrated crimes against them? And then lastly, how then at institutional level, you have to look out for things like, do you have systems of rehabilitation? Do you have systems of retribution? Do you have systems that inculcate values of harmonious living? And then I believe that way we as young people play a crucial role in making sure that the genocide can never happen again. Thank you, Kazeneza.
Thank you very much, Omar. I just really wanted to say one thing from what you said. The issue of accepting that we have to coexist and accept that as a society, there is no society of just one tribe. All countries really have different groups, and accept that we are different, and that we have to live together in our differences, and know that actually our differences should mean a lot, in the sense of we bring something to each other. Let not alone these countries, Burundi, Rwanda, we are very small countries. We actually, there is no difference. If you see, we pray same God, we dress the same, we eat same food. When you look about differences in other countries, you can see a lot of differences. But in these two countries of ours, there is a lot of similarities, and we shouldn't really be fighting. So thank you very much for that. I want to go to Moses. Moses, to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I'll be more brief because Umar had already communicated some of the things that I was about to say. I was in Rwanda in May last year with Debbie during the Peace Building Institute. And of course, we had the opportunity to go and visit the Genocide Memorial Center in Kigali and the museum at the parliament. And basically, Rwanda's story or Rwanda history is so touching that when we look into what happened in Rwanda, mostly the actors, people who execute the genocide, we see that youth were part of the execution. So that question our eligibility as youth, what we can do to basically care in the world to be a peaceful place to live in. So as youth, we really need to think and focus that peace is not only a lifestyle, but it should be a human right. We should be in position to advocate how to be in together with each other. I would also love to see that we have to advocate for NGOs or government to scale down activities that bring together youths. The more youths are divided, it becomes more difficult for them to come together and reconcile. I just need to talk in the perspective of my country where we have diverse tribes. It's not easy to bring them together. But when there are some projects, programs that attract all these youths together, they discuss together, they share their ideas together, it will be very easy to reconcile, to heal, because at the end of the day, we see each other as brothers and sisters. But if we have a lot of things that divide us than those ones that bring us together, then when things happen like this, it's not easy to bring youths together to reconcile. I really at certain point really feel so great that Rwanda have done a lot of things to ensuring that peace comes back to the country, reconciling, going through the healing process, giving everything at the back that had happened just only for the goal of bringing peace is a very significant milestone. So as youths, let's try together to move together as youths, create projects that can empower youth, make youths more busy in peace-related projects than those projects that can divide them. Let's leave away sectarism and bring them together, discuss things together. Together we can live in a better place.
Thank you very much, Moses, for that comment. Actually, I was remembering last time we had an Unplugged city and we had the coach, and he was telling us how when football brings people together. So, and when you were talking about creating things which brings people together and show them that we are not different. We bleed same blood, all red. Nobody really bleed white blood, and we suffer the same. We get hungry the same. We really have the same, a lot which make us the same than what divide us. So thank you very much. Edison Odiema, 1 minute, and then we go to Daniel and then Ange.
Okay, hello, Kaze. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the hosting our brother and the sister from Rwanda, Edson Odiema, as usual. As today we celebrate and also mourn our brothers and sisters who lost their lives in 1994. Due to the mistake which was intentionally made by our foreparents in Rwanda. It's a pity and a touching story. Yeah, when you're looking at what happened in Rwanda, I look at it in the context of Uganda, because what happened in Rwanda has already happened. And to avoid that, we need to look forward and see that there are a number of interventions in place so that what happened cannot be repeated. Yes, if we look at the major underlying cause, it was politics, much as there were some other hidden reasons. Now, like when I come back to Uganda, there are very many things happening, especially politics. We young people, we are engaging ourselves in premature politics where we don't understand what politics is. The politics we have in Uganda currently is all about creating division and hate speeches among political parties, which is almost pushing to the level of even having it along a tribal basis. So as a young person who want to see things not happening the way it happened in Rwanda, so I say, let's engage ourselves in mature politics where we know how to relate with someone who supports FDC, someone who supports NRM, because at the end of the day, we are all from the same family and we need to come back and live together. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
You too. Thank you very much for that. I like that we are looking, not just really start thinking in terms of, I think Ajit said genocide is the highest, but it starts with small things really, from how I see the other person from another political party. I don't support this political party, and I start calling them names and start dehumanizing them and start viewing them as I don't know what. And from there, slowly, I don't see that person as a human being anymore. And then I start feeling that, you know what, if that person is not a human being, what will make a difference if that person doesn't exist anymore? So this kind of, we start, as I think Ajit said it very well, thinking critically. Like, it doesn't really happen all in one day. There are stages, and let's start fighting those stages from down. Daniel, and then Ange.
Oh, well, thank you, Kazineza. I'm glad to be back on Unplugged series and submit, as our boss Ivana Tuyambe always says. So, let me start by trying to walk down the memory lane and establish what exactly was the reason as to why that kind of pain was visited upon the Tutsis of Rwanda. And it was all about politics. It was all about power. It was all about governance. And one side of the axis felt oppressed, and the other side of the axis felt superior. And therefore, this is the reason as to why all these heinous acts of human history happened in Rwanda. And, you know, it happens even today, as my country right now is approaching the elections period. I mean, it's something that we should take as a case study. I mean, politics should not be viewed at an individual level. Politics should not be viewed at an ethnic-based level. It should be a competition of ideas. And this is the mark that we always miss as an African countries, that politics is a competition of ideas. Politics is not whatsoever a competition of ethnic superiority or anything to do with that. It is all about competition of ideas. And all this cultural, diversity that we have in Africa, the diversity should not be a problem whatsoever in Africa. It's a cultural mosaic, you know. Our diversity is simply a cultural mosaic that, for example, in Kenya, you combine the energy of the Kalenjin, you combine with the technical abilities of the Luya, you combine with the economic prowess of the Kikuyu, whatsoever. It is a perfect recipe for success. It should not be used against each other. And, you know, history has demonstrated times without number that we tend to forget, and we should never forget. And this is the reason as to why the Kwibuka 28 we are celebrating this month of April is to never forget, because in history of humanity, when people forget, they tend to repeat the same mistakes that were done. So remembering what happened in Rwanda is a perfect process of trying to move to the right direction. And so from where I sit, Rwanda went through painful incidents. Rwanda, the Tutsi, thousands of Tutsis lost their lives. And, you know, Rwanda is back on feet. If today you ask the efficiency in the world, Kigali comes to mind. If you ask a country, citizens are contributing and in national matters in the country, Rwanda comes to mind. If you look at the order, Rwanda comes to mind. So for me, Rwanda redefined greatness. That, you know, greatness is about
how well you rise after falling. And lo and behold,
Danny, I don't want to cut you. I want to give a bit other people, but really thank you very much for your submission. I think that's why I was telling to Ajid that today we are not just commemorating, just mourning people who died, but we are also celebrating those who survived and they are now living and showing the strength. I want, before Ange comes in, I want to really read a few comments. Juvens, Kyle said, hi Kyle first, how are you? I hope you are okay. He's a ULID alumni. I haven't seen him for long. So he said, thank you, Debbie and Eric. As Rwandans, after a long way of learning our own history, I come to be aware of a lot of things that youth need to know. So I think the role of us young people to fight against the genocide ideology are understand the importance of unity. Very good. Learning from our history, what happened. And lastly, use our platforms in denying people with genocide ideologies. And then Gertrude said the young people should cease to be used in political fights. We should endeavor to use our energy to advocate for democracy in all institutions. And then Raphael said the power of acceptance, coexistence, and togetherness as young people is paramount to realize the East Africa we want. Thank you very much. These are very, very, very good comment. Ange, you can go, and then Raphael, and then we can conclude.
All right, thank you so much, Kaze. Can everybody hear me? I do not trust my network because I am in a very public space.
We can hear you.
Thank you so much. My name is Ange, like Kazeneza said. I am also a colleague to Kaze, but I'm also a Rwandan. So I will speak on both perspectives as a Rwandan and also as a ULID colleague. So I'm here to thank and also say thank you very much for everyone actually who contributed. Thank you to our speakers for making it clear for us to understand how the history is and also trying to give us an opinion on what is going on and how the healing process really is going on. I say sorry to everyone who lost their own, and I also pay the honor to every victim of 1994 genocide against Tutsi. My opinion here, I just want to say much has been said. The reconciliation process has never been easy for Rwandans, but thank God we already have now the reconciliation. Let me just say that we have the reconciliation. No one calls anyone a Tutsi or a Hutu here in Rwanda or Twa. Now we have a concept of Ndumunyarwanda, we are all one, which I have to be thankful for and which I feel like it's a wonderful space that as Rwandans we managed to achieve. Because one of the most ideology which made us be in genocide against Tutsi is now feeling the differences, feeling that if I am tall, I am Tutsi, or if I have a tall nose, considering all the factors that they were considering to consider that you are a Tutsi or Hutu, they are never there. We all call each other as Ndumunyarwanda. We have that concept, and I feel like it's something which made us feel like brothers and sisters, more like a family, not really having anything to differentiate us. So the unity that we are seeking for everywhere else in the world is to have every country not feeling the differences, no privileges on any kind, any tribe or what. We also have where we feel like it's diversity. We have clans, we have Abanyiginya, we have Abasinga, but we consider Rwandans never with ethnicity or ethnic group, but we all consider ourselves as Rwandans. So that one, it's a step that I think it really contributed to where we are right now, which I also felt like sharing. So what But I want to challenge young people who are following these steps we took, regardless of the steps we took to heal, and also for the survivors to be where they are now, to develop, to make a step and make sure that they have the resilience where they thrived to be where they are. We still have people who are denying the genocide. We still have negative thoughts towards the genocide against Tutsi. And now as young people, I think a lot is being done on online spaces, on Twitter, on Instagram, or on other online platforms, which is actually, I may say that it is slaughtering again for the people who survived the genocide and for the people who lost their own. It's not helping them. And as young people, we should take a first step to fight against the denials, because it's the biggest issue we should fight with. We are fighting with as young people, and we should take the first step. If we are young people and we are here, I think as the peace builders, we should always fight for having a world where we do not have differences. If we say that genocide never happened, and we had Ejid talking about his testimony, how he lost parents, whenever someone is denying that genocide never happened, or they say that not really the people, they are talking about that, and we still have testimonies like the one Ejid was talking about, I think we should never sit down and then be silenced. We should rather stand up, and also as young people make sure that we fight for the peace. We also make sure that we pay the honor to the victims and also support the survivors. So I just wanted to challenge everyone on the series here to make sure that they raise their voice, to make sure that they fight for the peaceful region, as they also learn from the past, to preserve the history and make sure that it never happens again. So thank you so much. Let's take it as a responsibility. Let's take it as an assignment. Whenever we see people who are denying, let's make sure that we work together to report the cases, and also make sure that we are making sure that we raise our voice against what they are saying. So thank you so much. Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks
thank you,
to you,
and thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Yes, no. Thank you very much for that reasoning. Especially, I always think about the denial, not just about even the genocide. Why would someone take that would want to deny somebody's trauma, somebody's suffering, and we want to it's like you are just there to tell the other person you didn't suffer, or I don't recognize your suffering. And I think it's like hurting that person a second or a third time. They have been hurt already, and then now you are coming to tell them, you know what, there is nothing happened to you. And I think that's the whole killing of our humanity. We just feel like I don't consider you as a human, because the moment I consider you as a human, and me, I have been suffering, I know what it means, I should also accept your suffering. Just want to read a few other comments. Stephen said, we must recognize that the tensions within society across all worlds always incline people and groups toward bigotry and conflict. The fundamental change begins at though, as classic libertarians would argue, individual level. Young people must reject group thinking that is always inclined towards stereotyping and what social scientists call othering. I really like, thank you very much, Stephen, for this othering other people. You are like those are like this, those are like that, those, and we know the whole naming. And Jean-Baptiste said, young people must take the lead in developing initiatives that will serve as role models for generations to come. It is up to young people to change the narratives of African history. Yes, so I know this has been very nice. Raphael, just use 30 seconds, and then Bior use 30 seconds, and then we conclude. I am sure we would go on if we don't stop. Just take 30 seconds. Raphael? Okay, Bior, you can open your mic.
Thank you, Kezi. First, I would like to, nice to see you again. So first, I'd like to say that each and every single conflict has actually been proved that it always starts with a lie that is usually propagated by a group, and then to be instilled to be the truth. So be it whatever conflict that has always happened, there's always that central concept that there's a lie that is always told there, so that now that lie can be propagated, so that the concept of othering can be able to come in, that you see a certain group as not being human enough to merit living in the same space with you. So the role that the youth can be able to play, and it's always quite a tricky thing, because you see the youths always have a disadvantage that they lack the pre-knowledge of what happened before. So any concept that is fed to them, or any lie that is propagated to them, be it maybe a truth that has been bended, will always be taken up by the youth. And the youth are always the energy within any society that can be molded into the negative force or into a positive force. So what is always concrete in trying to build peace and grouping societies or within the youths to divert them entities from the genocidal ideologies is just to be able to critically try and think and see where the truth actually lies from. Because you see, when you are getting intergenerational truth being told to you by different parties, it becomes quite difficult for you to be able to know where the truth comes in. And this is where the aspect of critical thinking comes in. So that now when you critically think, who's actually telling you this truth? Is it a version of the truth that has been created by the storyteller, or is it the exact truth that is actually there? And when the youths come together, realize that they are actually the force that can be able to create their own country by themselves, then that is the only way that they'll not be able to see each other as competitors, or see each other as groups, oppositions that have to be eliminated. And that's the only way that these ideologies can usually be changed. So coming from an individual whom I can be able to say that my current family is kind of like a conflict environment, because my wife is actually a survivor of the Rwanda genocide. I'm also a survivor of the Bor massacre in South Sudan. So it's something that we live on a daily basis, and it's something that we usually get to know the effect that it actually has. And we are hopeful that at least our daughter, who will be a full East African, coming from being a half Dinka from South Sudan, and a quarter Tutsi and a quarter Hutu, because the mom is from both sides, then I think that's the only way that to change our current generation, so that they become one people, so that when we realize and accept that we are one people and one group, that's the only way we cannot be able to discriminate each other and live together as a single group. So that's how the youth can be able to change the mind. So thank you, Kazi, and apologies for taking
Thank you very much, Bior. I'm always your fan. I like listening to your wisdom. Always, you always have that really nice message to share with us. I want someone called Nancy, if you can mute, or if the host can help mute Nancy, would be great. Okay, just to read one message. As the ideologies of genocide are built at the level of the minds, so let us mobilize to deconstruct these ideologies through action of awareness raising for the respect of all human beings. And then Dennis said, any government, society, or people that does not invest in the youth doesn't deserve their future. Government should ensure they are fully engaged the youth on matters of peaceful coexistence for the sustainable development. And then I think there was a discussion between Kyle and Daniel about the genocide denial. So again, really thank you very much. I just want to throw really one comment, and I think we need to start seeing. I think with our new generation and the whole use of social media, most of the conflict and things which are going to be violent will have started to being violent even from our internet. You see how we call each other names. we see, Abir said it very well, conflict starts from a lie. See how people throw lies and nobody says anything, or if people says, very few people can come and stand and say, this is a lie, stop it. So I think we need to start also really trying to fight, not just in our communities, but even in our online communities. Know how we stop this kind of things. When somebody is othering other people, we have the whole responsibility as young people to say, you know what, these things you are saying, it's a lie. These things might fuel violence, stop it. So I think we really have to really be on our guard. The genocide denial or violence denial or homicide denial, there is a lot going on. We need to be on our guard and start really making sure that from our families, actually even from our families, things start in our families. Our parents throw things and we keep quiet. We have to know that we have to say something there. Our communities, when you are within your tribal groups and they start othering others, stand up and say, you know what, those people you are calling names, they are not like that. So I think it's our responsibilities as young people to stand up and say, and sometimes accept even to lose families and to lose friends, but stand up for those things we think they are right. So again, thank you very much. I want to thank everyone. It has been 1 hour and a half. Very nice. And I want to thank especially Debbie from Never Again and Ejid Gatari from Jarji and everyone who has been here. You lead alumni, you lead friends, you lead consortium members. I know there are consortium members who are here. You lead East African youth ambassadors and people from really different countries who have been here and helping us to commemorate this day. Tomorrow, our friends from Rwanda will have a physical commemoration in Kigali and a dialogue. Those of you who have not, who want to follow what is going to happen, you can follow us on our Twitter account, the East Africa Youth Ambassadors Twitter account, and the East Africa Youth Peace Network. So you can follow us there and know what is going to be happening tomorrow in Rwanda. Again, thank you very much. I wish you all a good night, and thank you especially to our speakers. Bye-bye, have a great night, and peace to all.
Peace to you too. Shalom.
Africa, tusonga mbele mama Africa, Africa, Kwa pamoja Africa, mwishani wonse, bonjour, mama. From country to country, yeah, we gotta work together. We are leaders now.
Shape young men and women with the pillars, with the future. Here we are, let's join together with ability to change communities, with love, with peace, to respond to our need, to call for unity. Africa, hear me cry, never leave me alone. As I say loud in a brighter future, let's join hands for youth and women. Let's join hands for youth and women. Together.
Vijana kutoka mashariki, magharibi, kaskazini na kusini, hata na kati, twaja pamoja ili tufanye nini?